Hi, I'm Eric Linask. We're here at this year's Telecom Exchange event, and I'm talking with Nelson Fry from Sentinel Data Centers. Nelson, good morning. Thanks for joining me.
Hi, good morning. Glad to be here.
Start me off with a little introduction to Sentinel. Who are you? What do you do?
Sure. So Sentinel was founded in 2001 by the current co-presidents and co-founders of the company. Both of them, Todd Aaron and Josh Rabina, are still actively managing and growing the business today. It was founded at the aftermath of the telecom bust and the tech bust of 2000-2001, where they secured a data center asset and developed a business plan to cater to very large enterprises looking to outsource their data centers. So they developed that model and that site, grew it out, continued by buying another data center and filling that up, and then ultimately bought the NASDAQ Trumbull site in Connecticut, filled up those assets, and then moved on to expanding the business down to New Jersey and North Carolina ultimately.
Fantastic, some very nice growth. Along with that growth, how do you feel Sentinel differentiates itself in the market from some of the other players?
Sure. It's a crowded market for sure. There's a lot of activity and interest in the space, and I think that's born out of the trend of the enterprises wanting to get out of owning and operating their data centers. Very expensive, very time-consuming, as well as difficult to find the right resources to manage a data center that's up 100% of the time. So to really break it down into three areas that we focus on in the business that sets us apart, large enterprise footprint is our focus. So think about the Fortune 1000, the Global 2000 companies, and designing a footprint that matches their requirements so that they could essentially pick up their data center or data centers and drop them into our facilities and effectively serve their IT infrastructure departments effectively. So that's a big part of it. So customization around a large footprint enterprise. Ultimately, it comes down to quality. So when we grade out on RFP responses from enterprises, we're at the top of the stack. And the focus on quality around design and operations is key. And part and parcel to that is the operations team that we have on the wall. So when clients or prospective clients are kicking the tires, they need to ask the questions. Well, what are their qualifications? What are their ability to basically pick up my operations team as needed? And I think the last thing it has to do with flexibility. As far as once they pick up their data center and drop it into our facility, every single one of our customers has a different size deployment. So it's a different space, square footage, different power size, a different power distribution model. And what we do is we take every customer one at a time, ensure that we get the details right, onboard them properly, and then move on to the next customer. So while we're big in terms of scale, we're not trying to plant a flag in every city and grow the business too fast. We do it at the right kind of measured pace.
Very good. Now, Nelson, we're here at the Telecom Exchange event, as I mentioned. Talk a little bit about your relationship specific to the telecom community.
Sure. That's it's absolutely imperative to have a consistent model with this operating group, meaning the telecom and data network providers, so that when they come into our facility, they know exactly what their cost structure is, how they can operate and serve our clients. So when a tenant enters into our facility, they have their own data center. They connect back to POP rooms where all the carriers are located, and we have about a dozen of them, the major carriers at our sites. And we stay out of the way at that point. So it's for the carrier to do a deal directly with our customer. We don't mark that up. We don't have an interconnection model where we charge for all of the cross connects that sit in the middle of those parties. By staying out of their way, we really allow them to control the costs in the environment and also the timing and the execution. So a big part of that has become more prerequisite in these RFP responses when clients are asking about how do I connect up to different carriers, and we help facilitate that.
So when you say you're not charging for every little connection, certainly that helps the carriers in terms of, as you mentioned, limiting and keeping their costs down. How does that benefit you in the long run?
Sure, happy tenants. Most of our tenants are long-term customers. So on average, our contract length with them is 7 to 8 years, close to 10 for many of them. So we're in it for the long haul. We know they're going to have a lot of changes over that 10-year period. But the onus is on us to drive efficiency at the data center and then cost over time. So I can't do that by adding margin on top of margin for those types of services. So stay out of their way, let them run it efficiently, and they'll come back to you. And that model has proven out for us.
Certainly, one of the trends we've seen lately in the telecom community is consolidation. There are, of course, others as well. How much does the consolidation impact you, or are there other trends that are impacting you even more?
Sure. I think it causes a little bit of confusion in the marketplace for some of the prospective buyers as far as what business are you in? Are you a data center provider? Are you a cloud provider? Are you a network provider? Or are you some combination thereof? At Sentinel, we clearly define our place in the data center side of things in more of a wholesale model. So we don't even confuse it by offering cages or cabinets or very small footprints for clients. It's all big space, private suites that are dedicated to those clients. And that, from that standpoint, I think it's allowed us to separate from the pack.
What do you foresee? How do you project Sentinel continuing to grow in the future?
So it's kind of execute well on one site and move on to the next when the opportunity presents itself. So we have basically 4 data centers in our portfolio today. 2 are multi-tenant, where we can host a lot of different clients, and then 2 are single tenant. So we'll definitely entertain opportunities to work with clients on both fronts. We are looking actively at new markets on a fairly regular basis, so I think we'll see some exciting things in the years to come here.
Excellent. Nelson, thank you so much for joining me. Enjoy the event.
Thank you, Eric.